How are you, Rick?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. This is Francine from Urban Hero magazine.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you as well. Now, Rick, you're currently touring Ontario, or you're sort of at the end of your tour, I guess, in support of your
Yeah,
latest album, Five Crooked Lines,
that's right.
that
Yeah,
was just released. Great. How's that going?
it's been great.
Yeah?
We're just we're heading back east now. We just got back from we were out on as far as west as Vancouver Island,
Oh, wow.
and so we started in Winnipeg and we headed out west. Now we're headed back east, and it's been really great. We haven't toured Canada for a very long time, so it's nice to be back home.
Oh, that's good, good. How do you find the fans' reception?
Incredible.
Yes?
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's neat to see the people's response to the new and the old music is great, and then also just the different age generations that are coming out to the show is really
Yes.
cool as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really a neat thing.
Yeah.
You can sort of sense that the band is sort of crossed into another generation, which is a really exciting thing.
That's amazing. So, in a way, it fits with the your new release in the sense I understand that you've reconnected with a more sort of bare to the bone style of music as you did when in the first few years when you started.
Yeah, I think so very much. So, it's been a sort of a full circle kind of ride, and on this record, we definitely got back to the basics.
Yeah.
We put. I think in the past, maybe we made the mistake of putting a lot of the effort in the recording process.
Yes.
And on this record, we put more of the effort into the writing process.
Right.
And then we treated the recording process very spontaneous and raw, which I think is a great combination. It works, and that's sort of what we did at the beginning of our career as well. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. You seem to indicate that your criteria to choose the songs that would appear on the record were elements like muscular, aggressive, primal, authentic, no compromises, no concessions. So you think these elements really appeal to the youngest crowd?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. I think honestly, there's a certain percentage of the youthful crowd that I think is in like modern day music. There's not a ton of like just straight up rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either sort of jumps all the way from metal to like a pop rock thing.
Yeah.
So you can see for them there's this sort of thing missing.
Yes.
And I think we provide a bit of it. So there's excitement for the young audience getting into the band, but then there's also the older guys and the older women that have sort of been around and have been missing that sound, and it's sort of appeasing them as well. So it's great. It's when you're in a band and you're making the music, we don't really have a game plan. It just sort of it's such a form of self-expression. It's just what comes out of us.
Right.
But when it all lines up like this, when you make music that the people want to hear, it's such a great relationship. So
it's the music you always had in you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
As a band.
We have like lots of different styles of music in us, but
yeah, which is natural.
on this one, exactly. But on this one, it definitely lined up as far as the more heavier rock stuff was the better songs, I think. So
Fantastic. Now, what's a personal favorite for you on your new album? Would you say?
Well, I probably have. Well, there's a bunch, but right now it always sort of changes.
Yeah, of course.
The favorite, but right now I definitely would go with "God's a Speed." It's the first song on the record.
Yes,
and it's just it's sort of brought on it's taken on a whole new life in the live show, in the live aspect of it. So
right,
it's really sort of it's a fun song to get out there and play for people, and people seem to react to it really well. So
great. So when we hear you play the guitar, we really hear Rick Jackett then, as an individual. That's
I think so. I think on this record, the individual performances were captured really well because of, like we were saying, we didn't overproduce or overlayer the recording process. So I think the individuals sort of come through.
Yeah, I think that it's quite an impressive album personally, and
Thank you very much.
yeah, because it's very fresh and very rooted at the same time. You know, fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, fresh in the sense that, as you said, it's almost a new sound today
Yeah.
compared to what's going on in the industry. So that's quite amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I think that was, that was something that we were aware of, that a sound that our band makes sometimes it's sort of been missing, so it was important to bring it back.
Fantastic. Yeah, because you strike me as being ageless in a positive way, in the sense that
Awesome.
you don't sound like an old band. You don't sound like, actually you do sound a bit like a newer band, but with all the experience and all the richness around it, right?
Yeah, I think that's an amazing compliment. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's sort of like the ultimate goal, I think. Is to find a way to keep ourselves invigorated and excited, but still, make the music exciting for the fans to listen to as well. So
yeah, and I think that's when it doesn't matter, that you've been together for 25 years. That's when it doesn't. It matters as well that you've been together for 25 years, because your bones are there, but the rest is like new. So
yeah, definitely. I think that there's an advantage to both to that, because you do get to know each other very well musically, and you sort of, the process, you can sort of do that sort of speaking without speaking thing when you're writing music. But
yes,
the hardest thing, I think, is the challenge of reinventing yourself.
How different is a tour in Ontario compared to tours or in Canada compared to tours that you've done internationally?
I think it's quite different. I think the biggest thing probably for us coming home to Canada is that the history of the band is much more rich here,
Yeah.
So whenever we go, when we tour like some places, definitely in America, and in a few places in Europe, there's a scene, and they know the band, and they know the history. But for the most part, we're usually the new band and the underdogs.
Yeah.
Go elsewhere.
Yes.
Which we love, and we love that challenge. That's a fun thing to get on stage and be like, you don't know us, but check this out.
Yeah.
That's a fun attitude to have. But for this, when we come back to Canada, it's cool because we get to sort of dig deeper into our older records, and there's familiarity there with the fans, which is a lot of fun too. So
yes. So would you say that you personally, Rick, always had music in you?
Yep. I can honestly say that.
Yeah.
I don't come necessarily from a overly musical family or anything, but me as an individual, I've just always gravitated towards music as my form of entertainment, my form of communication, my form of therapy. It's always been the thing I've been drawn to. So, and it's funny, me and my mom were just going through some old report cards, and there's just this constant sort of like observation / complaint that I was always singing songs or trying to write songs, and my math teacher would be like, "Yeah, we're in math class, like do the math problems," and I'd be writing songs, and I was like, 8 or something like that, And it's just sort of always been a part of it, and I think that goes for everybody in the band. To be honest, we're all just sort of lifer musicians and music fans,
Yes. And as a member of the band, you're one of the founding members, and and when you started with the Rainbow Butt Monkeys, you guys were, I'm sure the getting going was rough, but full of enthusiasm, but you guys were quite successful right away.
Yeah, we were fortunate. Before we even really knew what we were doing or how to do it, we entered a song into a radio contest for 97.7 Hits St. Catharines.
Oh, yes.
And we ended up winning the whole thing. It went from first getting the song getting picked to be one of the finalists, and then the night of the live finals, we won that night. We won, and it was just like that was. We went from Thursday not being a band that nobody in Canada even knew about
Yes.
to Monday, talking to like 6 different record labels.
Wow.
So it was pretty instantaneous as far as the jump start to the career. But the thing is also is that I think we were young. We were so young that we thought at the time. Mm-hmm. The thinking was like, hey, we got signed. We've made it. We don't have to work anymore. You know what I mean? And really, you learn quickly, like, oh, now that you're signed, the hard work starts now. You know, it's a lot of people think that's the be all end all. That gets you, but really, that's just the door opening, and then it's up to you. Then all of a sudden, you're competing with some of the biggest bands in the world. So it's like you sort of learn quickly. You have to step up your game. You know.
Yes. Is that why you went from Rainbow Butt Monkeys to Finger 11, which I much prefer as a great name, by the way?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you know what? Actually, it was really just simple transition. When the Butt Monkey name stuck because it was our high school band. We were in high school. That was the name. We really at that time it was early '90s. We were really into like the Chili Peppers and that kind of like fun alternative scene.
Yes.
But then, and we were also teenagers. So when we as people changed from teenagers to young men, the music changed with us.
Yes.
And understandably got like a little more aggressive and a little more angst-driven and a little angrier.
Yeah.
And once we wrote the first, what turned out to be the first Finger 11 record, we sort of knew this can't come out under the moniker Rainbow Butt Monkeys.
Yes. Yes.
Like we knew like it just wouldn't even get the chance. We felt like it deserved. So it was just a time to change. It was a time and a place that we knew we had one opportunity. You can't put up 2 records and then change your name. You know, it's like we had this one moment. And the label, everybody involved in our business side of things were pretty upset with us because they thought we had established something and we could build off of it. And we were like, but we don't want to. Like we realize that we want to do this as long as we can, and if that works, that means we'll be in our 30s and we'll be known as Butt Monkeys, and we don't really want that. So it really just was a time, and it was a perfect time, place, and it made sense to the music. So
it makes perfect sense. You showed your independence as creative buildings. That's very important, you know. Yeah, because those labels tend to want to swallow you.
Yeah, so, they do. You know, they wouldn't, and you know that they were just worried record sales, and we were worried about our career. You know. Yeah,
that's right. Fantastic. Now, what would you say? Do you have a favorite guitar player of all times, dead or alive?
I'm in the line of many where I obviously put Jimi Hendrix on top of the. You know, he's I think the difference between him and the second place player is like generations deep.
Yeah.
But for me, honestly, the 2 main guitarists I grew up sort of mimicking and trying to like learn from were Hendrix and Neil Young.
Oh.
So it was sort of I love the technicality and the skill and like just the incredible playing of Hendrix, but I love the soul and the feel and the rawness of Neil Young's guitar playing as well. So it would either be one, and then somewhere in there, in between those two, I would put like Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, because he taught me how to write riffs, but also write songs.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And those 3 would probably be my major influences.
Wow. So you guys all read the songs together then?
Yeah. It's a pretty neat. It's a bit of a strange. Like talking from other bands, it's a different kind of process, because we don't have that. We're not the band with like the one main songwriter.
Yes.
Everything's a collaborative effort, and what happens is myself and James, for the most part, and Sean as well, but for the 3 of us, we'll make the music first. Always.
Yes.
That's like 100% always the case. So the music gets made first, and then Scott is the lyricist 100%. He'll come up with the words and usually a melody for on top of the music. But then at that point is when we sort of like put down the instruments and sit down and we sort of listen to what he's saying and listen to his melodies, and we listen to the music. We rearrange the songs, and sometimes we'll switch. If the vocals are better than the music, we'll switch out the music to match the quality of the vocals, or vice versa. If the vocals aren't as strong as the music riff, then we'll switch out so it's like 2 parts to begin with, and then once it sort of all becomes a together group thing. We sort of attack it as a one unit. So
Fantastic, fantastic. Rick, thank you so much
my pleasure.
for being there and for having produced an album that has such depth musically. And it's a real pleasure to listen to it. It's enriching, if I can say.
Thank you very much.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say I'm really excited and happy that you enjoy it, because I can tell you honestly, it was a lot of fun to make, and and we're very proud of it.
Yeah, and you can feel that it's a band that has been together for so long for a reason.
Yes,
you know?
yeah, you know what? I think you're very right about that. I think we learned at a pretty young age that the only people that can screw this up are ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as we don't get in the way of this, we can sort of do this. It will go in peaks and valleys as far as success and popularity, but that's not that's not important to us. It's really just us being able to express ourselves through the music and play concerts. So, yeah, we are very much all here for the same reason, and that reason is Finger 11 for sure.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think that the most outstanding bands, the music comes from within and from above too, to a degree, because of the abstraction. It's a very abstract thing, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We meet bands that are you just sort of talk to them for a second, and you're like, oh, that's the way you think it should go. It's sort of I think you're overthinking it. I think it's just as simple as put it, just whatever's in you, try and get it out. That's really the goal.
Yeah, you let yourself get in the way.
Yeah, a lot of times I think a lot of artists do.
Yeah. Well, it's just amazing, and I feel privileged I had the chance to have a little chat with you.
Well, it was a great conversation, and I definitely appreciate all the compliments and just you taking the time to really listen to music, and I'm glad it touched you in some way. So.
Well, it's really worth it. Thank you so much, Rick.